it's all because he's experts. I can go to court where they've said, she's talking to him like he's Superman. Like, I wind up defending him against my attorney trying to say bad things because I want to build up our family, and they won't accept anything that is cooperative. They won't let us.
They don't want that.
Pick fights between us. And now my 16-year-old and my 17-year-old talking.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I mean, they really encourage the conflict. Anybody else have a question? Yes, in the back, and then I'll get to you.
Hi, I'm Bill. I had a 40-year, very close friendship with an alienator, and I gave up that friendship because now I know he's very evil. He continues to harass his ex to the point of wanting to destroy her or kill her. I know the children very well. They love me. They call me uncle. How can I best try to get to the kids? I was thinking of making a long text in a loving way to try to help. What's the best way for me to help?
Are the kids over 18?
Yes.
Okay. We can all judge. I would say the first step is not calling him evil, because then it's just now they have this mom who they've been told is awful. Now they have this dad who's evil, and the poor kid is like, well, now I have nobody. So I think it's important, and we want to say that because we see how the damage they're doing. But there's a big reason why I don't say this is child abuse in the film, because I think then it just people get angry and they want to blame. So I would say the first thing is just to be like, your dad, for whatever reason, maybe he's mentally ill, maybe this, maybe that, maybe he's suffering from trauma, maybe this is the best he's doing, his best isn't good enough, told you some things that are maybe not helping you have a great relationship with your mom. And I want to know that if there's anything I can do to facilitate having a relationship with your mom, such as being in the room if you meet her, arranging something so your dad doesn't know, where we're all together. Because a lot of these kids, they say they don't want to meet their parent alone. They're too scared. So if you can say like, hey, why don't we go to a food court in the mall, the most public place possible, right? And I'll buy everybody lunch, and you can leave anytime you want. So don't feel bad if you want to leave, because I'll be there talking to your mom, and I'll take her, to get an orange Julius or whatever they have at malls. Then you're giving them an easy out, as opposed to saying, these are all lies, you have to buy that, because then the kids just get defensive and be like, well, those aren't lies, because I saw this, I saw that. So I think the message always has to be, how can we move forward? Forget about the past, and you have a right to know who your family is. And even if they are bad, you have a right to know who they are. And by knowing them, you won't repeat their mistakes. Because a lot of parents, no one's perfect, so you can't build up one parent and destroy the other. So I think it's just being as neutral as possible. I'm here for you, and facilitate that. I think that's the way to go. And then when the film comes out, maybe just saying, hey, maybe check out this film. It's, and I wouldn't even say, it's because you've been alienated and erased. I would just say, it's a film about kids who went through hard divorces. It might speak to you. Tell me what you think, and ask their opinion. What do you think about this? Is it a good film? I liked it, but, I'm an old guy. And people love to give their opinions on stuff. So I would approach it like that, as opposed to like, you'll know the truth now. Because as soon as you say that, people get defensive, and they say, well, now you're saying my truth is wrong. There was a woman right there in a gray shirt, right behind you. Yes. So yeah, you first. And then,
okay.
Your white shirt. Sorry.
I love the documentary, and if I had to, as an old woman, had to go on it to part 2, erasing grandparents, because what happens is, being that I don't agree with what my daughter is saying about the other, because she already erased, the ex-husband because of her rules. If we're not, doing what they want, we get erased too.
Right.
If you don't want me to see your son, then guess what happens? And the grandparents are sometimes the backbone of raising in the African American culture.
Yes.
A lot of those children. So you have already raised them 5. They decided to split up, and now, as the older person look at it, they cut the grandparents off. So we're sort of going through the same thing as the father. So if they cut them off for 10 years, I'm cut off for 10 years. So if I had to expand on this, that's a whole big thing too. Once you cut off the father, the other backbone that they've known all their life is then cut off also. So if
That's a huge problem.
Yes, it just keeps trickling down and down and down. Yes.
He's very right with that, because you're talking about cutting that father node off.
Mhm.
And everything that attaches to dad is out of the question also.
Mhm.
And a good reason why they're bad, he's bad, and all you can do when he does have custody of the children is to say, we love you,
Right,
unconditionally, we love you.
exactly. Any other questions? Yes. Tamara.
Ginger, I just wanted to say, great job.
Thank you.
And, I liked how you pulled everything together. What I was surprised on was the Sweden and how they pull everything out of the system, they take the money out of it, and it's just between the parents, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be back to we the people are the ones that should be parenting our children. And everyone should do this shared parenting, no matter what. And I agree with this woman that talks about the grandparent alienation, because even in my situation, my parents died without seeing their grandkids.
I'm so sorry, that's
And
awful.
my kids didn't even go to the funeral.
Wow.
So it talks volumes of that person to not
Yeah.
role model, to have that respect.
Mhm.
And in the film here, seeing all the different views of each child and how it affects them is huge, because it's so easy sometimes, but when you're dealing with the impossible, a person who is not rational, I mean, it's very easy to role model good behavior. If you have that, like that couple in Sweden, role modeling good behavior, then those kids have no problems with the divorce. They see two happy parents being, respectful to each other, and then the grandparents are still involved in
Right.
it, because it's a generational curse, like this woman just said.
Mhm.
And if we can keep that role modeling behavior together, this movie is gonna go, this is gonna be
Thank
great.
you. I just want to say something about Sweden. So there are cases of parental alienation in Sweden.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what the prevalence is. I'm sure they're less though, because a lot of these cases that aren't the result of, let's say, some underlying trauma or mental illness, there's just no place for them. And if the message is you got to get along, or like that woman says, you're stuck with them, you're stuck with the other parent, you can't get rid of them, I think that just reduces the conflict. Also, Sweden, it's not in a vacuum. They have a lot of, they're very big on making sure fathers and mothers get equal leave, and having more support for schooling. So I always say, a solution can't exist in a vacuum. We need to make sure that all parents, even intact families, also have access to the services that they need and the help that they need, and that both parents are valued when the child is born by getting equal time off. So it can happen, but it's just, if that's the message, because I think people often go to court because they can, or they're getting a divorce. I remember a friend, and he just said, I'm getting divorced, and I started Googling lawyers. And my first thought was, don't go that route. But it's not that he was like, I'm gonna get back at my ex. That's, what do you know? So, and then you call up a lawyer, and the lawyer says, well, for $5,000 retainer, I'll do this, this, and this, we'll insure this, and then you're down that rabbit hole, because that's the first thing. So imagine if you Google that and said, in this state, we don't have a need for lawyers in divorce. We do have these 5 programs you can choose from, like mediation, mental health services, coaching, parenting skill classes, but that it's not an option. Then I think people would be like, oh, okay, it's not an option. What are the other options? But that's the first thing you get. That's, it's not like people choose this in a lot of cases. Sometimes people are like, I really need revenge. But I think in a lot of cases, they just get sucked into this. And then once you're in, it's like that Al Pacino in The Godfather, every time I want to get out, they pull me back in. Because once you start the family court thing, it's often really hard to walk